to Design Your CEO Life. I'm your host, Shay Cannon. I have designed my CEO life to live and work my business from anywhere in the world. I started this journey in Belize. I lived in Mexico for a little while, left and went to Argentina, back to Mexico, Costa Rica for a little while. And guess what? Now I have made it to Southeast Asia. I've started my year-long tour. My first stop is Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So I am here, I've started, and I'm excited, and I can't wait to bring you with me. I am truly living my best life, and you know what? I'm excited. Okay? Thank you for joining me as I share stories and conversations and strategies to help you live your best CEO life. All right? Now after tonight, we will only have one episode before the end of season 3. Much like the first 2 seasons, we've done good work together. So let's continue to close the season out strong. You've already been told during the journey of this entire season that we're on a mission. No more waiting, no more pretending, and no more excuses. We are building businesses and lives that feel good for real. No fake lives allowed. If you're new here, be sure to go back and check out the past seasons. We've been building up to this season 3 of Design Your CEO Life. Excuse me, and it's kind of next level, all right? No unnecessary fluff, no delaying on the good life, just radical ownership and unapologetic action to start living our best CEO life. So remember, this is a conversation. I want to hear from you. So find me at Shay Cannon COO everywhere. Tag me and tell me how you're liking the show. What are some of your aha moments? What's something you don't agree with? Tell me all of it. I want to hear it. All right. So that's at Shay Cannon COO everywhere across social. You see this light coral shirt with the logo, right? So that means it's an odd numbered episode. Welcome to episode 7. I have given this one the title of 100 Years, No Regrets. So let's get into it. Life isn't just about living long. It's about living well with purpose, clarity, and vitality that fuels your CEO life until the wheels fall off. And baby, we're replacing the wheels when that happens. So no quitting the ride, right? So again, it's not about just longevity. It's about vitality for as long as we can, okay? We don't want to just live for a long time. We want to live well for a long time. This episode is an attempt to support you in creating a blueprint for longevity. And we're not just talking physical health. We're talking the entire holistic setup. Your mind, your body, your business, your relationships, your routines, and your rest. Let's start with why this conversation matters now more than ever. As CEOs and business owners, most of us were shoved into fast wins, not long-term joy. Hustle culture had its moment. Now it's time to shift into sustainable success. But we're not just building businesses. We're building bodies and lives that can carry those businesses 30, 40, 50 years from now. To give some context, I watched the Netflix documentary series Live to 100, Secrets of the Blue Zones. That's the full title. Live to 100, Secrets of the Blue Zones, okay? Which cracked open some truths about how certain communities around the world are living longer, better, without billion-dollar wellness routines, okay? So that documentary talks about what is called blue zones. Blue zones are 5 places in the world where people live the longest and healthiest lives. There's Greece, there's Japan, there's Italy, there's Costa Rica, and there's a place in California. Now, the common themes found in all of these blue zones, let me tell you, and this is a list you might want to rewind and write down later, okay? So, here are a few things that they had in common, all of the blue zones, okay? Number one, purpose driven living, okay? In Okinawa, Japan, they called it ikigai, Ikigai, okay? Ikigai. Ikigai has become so popular now that people are coaching Ikigai. And all that is what is your purpose? Okay. So there is Ikigai coaching training, almost like life coach training out there. So that's how important purpose driven living is. And that's how popular that the value of it is becoming. So the first theme, purpose driven living or Ikigai. All right. The second thing, plant predominant diets, okay? Not necessarily vegan, but heavy on beans, grains, and vegetables, okay? So plant dominant diets, okay? Predominantly plants, not vegan, not vegetarian necessarily, but plant dominant, okay? The third thing that was common in all the bloom zones was natural movement. Now, you might be thinking that exercise and being in the gym and all of that is something that you need to live as long as possible, but it wasn't that. Amazingly, it was natural movement. Now, let me tell you what they meant by natural movement. They were talking about walking, gardening, moving regularly. That's it. Natural movements that you do in your body day to day. Just more of it, more intentional, more routinely. Okay. So the next theme that they all had in common, those blue zones, strong community and social ties. Okay. People who some of them was generations living in the same house. Okay. Some of them was, I'm going to say same age as living together, almost like, the elder homes, but way more active and way more social. Okay. So that is important. I don't know if you knew that, but that social interaction, that community, strong community, helps people live longer. All right. The next thing that those blue zones had in common was low stress. Okay. Low stress. Now, not no stress. Like they would feel stress, but you know what they had? Stress relief rituals to bring that stress back down. They're only human. They were feeling stress, but they were quickly able to bring it down. And that's something we all need to learn because stress kills. It really does. And so stress is what brings about a lot of chronic ailments that then kill you. Okay. So low stress was a common thing. The next common theme was moderate, mindful eating. Moderate, mindful eating. Basically, not just, throwing stuff in your mouth and not paying attention, okay? And it wasn't, I'm going to say there's probably some portion control in there, but basically what they said was they made it a habit to stop eating at about 80% full. They never ate till they got full, and they definitely never ate till they felt overly full. So moderate, mindful eating. I'm from the South. I would definitely have to be mindful not to eat till I'm full or overeat. Okay. The next theme that the Blue Zones had in common was spiritual or faith-based routines. Okay, spiritual or faith-based routines. Now, what I noticed was this is also where some of them got their social ties and strong community ties. Okay, because remember I told you all the blue zones are all over the world. There was only one in the United States, and it was in California, and it was a Seventh-day Adventist religious community. I actually was born into the Seventh-day Adventist space. I don't practice as an adult. However, I do remember that we primarily were to eat plant-based. So that's some stuff that's in there already, just built into the religion. We definitely were encouraged for like natural movement. Like it was routine for you to eat dinner and then go on a walk as a family, or go walk in nature or be in nature as a family. So spiritual and faith-based routines, okay? Coming together, having joy, singing together, okay? Praying together, all of that would be faith-based routines, all right? The last thing that they had in common for all of the blue zones was multi-generational living and deep family bonds. Yeah, I kind of mentioned it earlier when we talked about strong community and social ties, but multi generational living and deep family bonds. So there could be three generations in the household. There could be grandparents, parents, and children. And the grandparents were relied upon routinely. They still had a purpose in the family, they still had value to the family. They were not looked at as a burden. So multi-generational living and deep family roots. What do you think about that? Right? So what we want to do is infuse these 8 blue zone habits into our CEO life. All right. And so this is the part of the episode where I'm going to take my glasses off so that you can hear me better. Okay. So all of those 8 common themes that are habitual across all of the blue zones, we want to find ways to, in our own CEO lives and life design, to add each of those 8. Okay, so let's start with purpose driven living, Ikigai. Okay, what they do, Okinawans, that's Okinawa, Japan, they live by the principle of Ikigai, a reason for being. So, not about having passion projects, not like that. It's an everyday compass that drives their decisions. What is their purpose? Every decision is made by whatever the purpose is. Okay. So, let's see how you can incorporate this first thing. You can create a North Star statement. Okay, that's your purpose that helps you to make decisions. So, your North Star statement is for your business and for your life. For example, it could be I help Black women live boldly and earn unapologetically because our joy and wealth are revolutionary. Ooh, that felt good. Okay, but a North Star statement about your life, about your business. You can kind of combine it, or you can have one for each. So you can do something like put those types of statements in your email signature, stick it on your mirror, put it on your phone's lock screen or your computer's background, tattoo it on your business strategy. Okay. This is a statement that is powerful and that is has an energy of its own that you can kind of summon. If you have it somewhere where you run into it frequently, you read it frequently, and you pull that energy in frequently. All right. The next thing you can do is schedule monthly Ikigai check-ins. Okay. Ask yourself things like, are my offers, my partnerships, my calendar aligned with my purpose? If not, you need to cut or course correct. All right. The last thing I want you to do is ditch vanity metrics. Measure your fulfillment along with revenue. So don't just have revenue goals, have fulfillment goals. How's your life going? Again, I do want you to make money, but the money is supposed to fund your life. So business is not supposed to be your life. It's supposed to fund your life. Okay. Let's go to the next thing, plant dominant diets. Okay. So, what the Blues owners did was they didn't necessarily go full vegan. They just eat 80% to 90% whole plant foods. Like I said before, beans, sweet potatoes, leafy greens, and grains. Okay. Now, how can we incorporate this into our CEO life design? We can eat meatless meals at least once a week, but then we can do more days a week, right? Um, and those meatless meals can be bean based, right? So you can start with like black bean tacos, lentil soup, or chickpea curry, things like that. Okay. Then we can buy frozen veggies and microwave steam bags to simplify like the daily prep so that we don't have any excuses about convenience. Okay. Another thing we can do is keep prepped power bowls in the refrigerator. So those can be bowls that have things like quinoa or roasted veggies, black beans, olive oil, and a sprinkle of nuts and seeds on it. Okay, and don't forget the spices. But that's a great example of a power bowl. Keep you away from that sugar. Get you 80% full without being overly full with good food that feeds the body. The next thing we can do is cut back on that ultra processed stuff, the snacks, the fast food, by setting a weekly limit. Now, you don't have to get rid of it. We said cut back, okay? You can do things like replace your fried potato chips, maybe with baked sweet potato chips or roasted chickpeas or nuts, and put them in a container that, you know what the portion is, that you're not over portioned. All right. Last but not least, you can think bulk and balance. Okay. So fill your plate with veggies before anything else goes on it. Like try to cover most of the circumference of your plate with the vegetables instead of starting with other stuff and putting a little corner of vegetables on last. Okay. Let's go to the third thing. It's natural movement. Now, what the blue zoners did was they did not work out, okay? But they moved all day long, walking, gardening, bending, lifting, even dancing. Now, what we can do is we can take some of our business calls walking. Instead of being on Zoom, leave the camera off and walk. You can walk while you coach. You can walk while you brainstorm. You can walk while you check in with team members and things like that. So let's start taking walking calls. We can turn errands into movement. You can park further away in the parking lot from the door. You can carry your groceries instead of using a cart. That's a little weights, right? You can take the stairs instead of taking the elevator. Put a yoga mat in your office and do like 5 sun salutations before your first client or your first call. Okay. You can even do yoga in between when you're doing breaks or as a break, you can do yoga. The next thing you can do is set a timer where, like, every 90 minutes, you do a 1 minute of jumping jacks or squats or stretching or walking in place. Okay, that's good for you anyway. Circulation of the blood, because we're not supposed to be sedentary, sitting down all day long for hours on end. I have an alarm set on my phone to remind me to get up. Sometimes I get up and I walk in place. Sometimes I get up and I stretch. Sometimes I get up and I might actually walk around or walk downstairs and come back. Okay. The last thing I want you to consider adding in is add movement to your breaks. You can do 15-minute YouTube dance workouts, mobility routines. Those are really popular now. So they don't just call them exercise routines or workout routines. They call them mobility routines. I need you to YouTube that or search for that, because these are movements designed to keep you in balance even in your older age. It's designed to keep you mobile even in your older age. So there are specific movements to keep your knees strong, keep your back strong, and things like that. Okay. Let me think of something else. That little mini trampoline thing, I hear that's pretty good, right? So let's just add movement to our breaks. I love a good dance break. I kind of combine like a little concert and a little dance break together, dancing and, shaking and getting the song on. All right. Let's go to the next thing. Number 4, strong community and social ties. Now, what the Blue Zoners did was they don't do life alone. They surrounded themselves with people who share the same values. They check on each other. People who share the same passions, the same hobbies, things like that. Okay. So they keep it social and they have a strong external community. So this is like people other than family. So what can we do? We can identify who is our inner circle, like 3 to 5 people who support our growth personally and professionally. And we can reach out every week. Now, we don't have to reach out to the same people every week. We're reaching out to someone from that inner circle every week. Put this on your calendar. Make it a part of your week and make it sacred. Okay? The next thing we can do is we can join or host a virtual co-working session weekly. Okay. I had one of those today in my business as a part of my coaching program. It's something about you working and someone else working, and we're not talking, you're just working, but you're in the energy of getting stuff done, and that person's in the energy of getting stuff done, and it almost like it gives you a little superpower. Okay. But connection plus productivity works wonders. The next thing we can try is scheduling a friendship maintenance activity each month where we can send a voice note, we can send a card, we can plan a visit, we can just drop in and say, hey, I'm proud of you, or hey, I love you. Okay. The next thing we can do is start our own modern day. It's called moai. Okay, that's another Okinawan word, and it means tight knit group. A moai is a tight knit group. It could be a Voxer thread or a Slack channel. With like business besties or your sisterhood. If you are in the Divine Nine, it could be your sorority sisters, right? That were online with you or something like that. But you can create your own Moai, okay? MOAI. Last but not least, you can prioritize connection before content. Connection before content. So reply to your Instagram DMs, right? Comment with love on posts. Show up in group chats, okay? Connection before content. All right, our fifth theme is low stress with stress relief rituals, okay? Now, the Blue Zoners, what they did was they would downshift every day. They would downshift. So they wouldn't just stay in the same high energy all day long. They would downshift and do things like take naps. They would meditate. They would pray. They would walk. Or they would simply just pause and take a moment. Okay. So what we can do is we can build a pause break into our calendar, right? Literally label it breathe and sip tea or sit outside. I have a balcony here that overlooks a great view here in Vietnam. I can see pagodas out of my balcony. I love to just sit on the balcony and drink tea and just look at the traffic go by and look at the pagodas. You can do the same thing. Just sit in silence, breathe and sip tea or coffee, and be in nature and be still. That's a great one. The next thing you can do is use the 4-7-8 breathing method to calm your nervous system. Okay. So you can do it once in the morning. You can do it once in the afternoon. You can even do it as like a part of your bedtime ritual. Now, what is this 4-7-8 breathing method? Well, you breathe in for 4, hold it. You breathe out for a count of 7, hold it. And then you breathe in for a count of 8, hold it. And you repeat 4-7-8. Okay. And what that does is it brings your heart rate down. It regulates your body and your nervous system. Okay. Next thing we can do is start a 5-minute gratitude practice. Now, I don't care what time of day you do it. Whichever time of day is good for you or convenient for you. And it's only 5 minutes. Okay. So a 5-minute gratitude practice, right? It could be after you log off. It could be before bed. You can even do it if you don't like to journal and write. You can do a voice note, okay? But you can use note apps also. Another thing that we can do is we can take a device-free hour every day. No phone, no laptop, no TV, just exist, okay? Or you can read a book, a physical book, not the Kindle, not on a screen, no screens, okay? You can listen to binaural beats, BINAURAL beats, in case that Alabama got in the way, okay? Or just some kind of nice music that has good energy to it. So I don't mean like upbeat music. I mean like a Mozart, like classical music has been known to help the brain, right? It could be slow music, but just create some kind of wind down ritual for your day. Okay. It could be dim the lights, drink warm tea, again, read a book, listen to some music, but not music to hype you up, music to calm you down. All right. The next theme is moderate mindful eating and stopping at 80% full. Okay. Now the blue zoners, what they did was they follow what is called, I don't know if I'm gonna pronounce this right, but it's Hara Hachibu. Hara Hachibu. Now let me spell that for you. Hara, that's one word. Hachi, that's the second word. And boo is bu. That's the last word. And that is eat until you're 80% full. That's the rule, and that's the name for that rule. Now, what can we do? We can use smaller plates. Yeah, seriously, we can use smaller dishes to put our food in to lower those portions some. I'm from the South. I'm from Alabama. So whatever plate you give is the plate that's going to get filled up. So if it's a big plate, it's going to get filled up. If it's a small plate, it's going to get filled up. So use smaller dishes, even if you fill it up, and it'll be less portion or smaller portions and less food. The next thing you can do is before you eat, take 3 deep breaths and ask, am I eating because I'm hungry or because I'm stressed and tired? Or am I eating just because of the time of day? Like, listen to your body. Your body will let you know when you're hungry. You don't have to let the time tell you when to eat. It could be your body telling you, especially sometimes when you have those fuller portions and fuller meals. I mean, the next meal could wait a little longer, right? So pay attention to when you're eating and why you're eating. The next thing we can do is chew 20 times per bite. It slows you down and it keeps the brain in tune of when you get full. So we can't stop at 80% full if we're eating so fast that the brain doesn't register that we've eaten enough. Okay, so chew 20 times per bite. Now I'm gonna tell you that's going to be a struggle for me, but I'm going to try it. Another thing you can do is put your fork down in between bites. Treat the meal like a date with yourself, not a race. So eat, put the fork down. Okay? Eat, put the fork down. All right. You can schedule meals, not snacking, okay, but meals into your day like meetings. This avoids you grazing all day long and helps make your eating a little more intentional. I just recently did that starting yesterday, and so I'm looking forward to getting some results from my scheduled meal times because I swear to you, sometimes I eat and I could swear I just ate, but I'm hungry. Or sometimes I'm not hungry, but I'm like, when was the last time I ate? So these scheduled things, I'm trying to regulate my eating to regulate my body. The next thing is going to be spiritual and faith-based routines. The blue zoners, they do prayer, they do spiritual reflection, and all of it is a part of daily life. They don't just pray when something bad happens. They pray every day. Okay. Now, what can we do? We can start the day with intentional pause, whether it's prayer, meditation, breath work, reading scripture. Like give your spirit a seat at your CEO table and on your CEO calendar. Okay. Another thing we can do is create a Sunday reset ritual, okay, that includes some spiritual reflecting. Now, this is where you can journal, you can go and take quiet walks in nature, you can listen to soul fueling content. That reminds me of like Oprah's Soulful Sundays. I used to love those. It could be some of your favorite sermons, anything that kind of fills you up and recharges your soul. What makes your soul feel good? Another thing you can do is reduce toxic stuff, and replace them with spiritual affirmations. We all knew growing up. I'm a Gen X. You know, some of our rap got crazy, and that rap music wasn't set to the right energy, vibrations, and all of that. And so, yeah, it's amazing how that stuff can affect you. So we can replace some of that stuff with spiritual affirmations. So you can try something like, "What's meant for me won't miss me," or "I am resourced, rested, and ready." Okay, just make the mantra whatever you need it to be, whether it be a toned down kind of feeling and energy or a revved up kind of feeling and energy. Next thing we can do is set an offering hour where once a week we go serve someone else. We go volunteer. We give time without expectation of a return on investment. Okay. I don't know about you, but growing up, I was also told that tithing Okay, wasn't just money, it was giving back. Okay, it was helping. It could be giving things that's worth money but that are needed. Okay, so let's step up with our volunteering and our supporting of others. Another thing you can do is, if faith is already a part of your life, you can integrate it into your business. You can do things like pray over your product launches or offer launches. You can speak life over your clients. You can make value led decisions. You can infuse what you believe into the mission of your business so that the team is using it as a compass also. So, those are some things that you can do. Now, the last thing that the Blue Zones had in common was the multi generational living and deep family bonds. Now, Blue Zoners, the elders were celebrated, the children were included, and the family is daily, not occasional. Okay. Now, how can we infuse that? Because a lot of us have gotten away from the generational living. But if you are a caretaker, you can include your loved ones into your rhythm. Okay, instead of having them feel like they conflict with it. So you can do things like share with them what you're working on, ask them about their day, involve them in your life, instead of always balancing around them, right? One of the things that I used to do when I used to sell accessories is I used to go to festivals and I had an expo table or a vendor table and I would sell like jewelry and purses and things like that. I would take my children with me. My youngest son was the best salesperson ever because everybody just thought he was so cute. So anything he pointed to on a table and told them ladies that they would look pretty and they bought. Okay. So I was able to infuse them as a part of how I did business. So think of ways that you can do that with your children, your grandchildren, your spouse, your parents. How can they be involved? How can they be informed about it? How can you make them feel like they own a little bit of it and know what's going on? You can host a monthly family dinner. You know, I don't know about you, but most of the TV shows and movies, they get together on Sundays or once a week as a family. But some of us can't do the once a week thing, but we can definitely do once a month. You can do a monthly family dinner, and it doesn't have to be fancy. Just make it consistent. Okay. You can even do that thing to where you have everybody put their phones in a basket. So it's all about everybody being together and not everybody in the same space on their different phones. Okay. You can schedule a legacy call with a parent, grandparents, or whoever your elders are. Ask about their stories. Ask them for advice and ask them about their struggles. What was their life like? I love on Facebook these days, they're selling these books that was like Mom Write Your Story or Dad Write Your Story, because kids don't always know how we were growing up. They only know us as parents. As they grow up, they may know us as grandparents, but what about the life that you lived before they ever came along? So have these conversations. Before my grandmother died, that was one of my favorite things to do. Just ask her about her life and ask her about her views on me. Like, what are the things she was most proud of? What are the things about me that reminded me of, reminded her of me, reminded her of herself in me. Okay. But legacy calls, I love that. Do something like that. We want to make space for the wisdom of our lineage, of our ancestors, because some of that could even help our businesses. But we want to ask, like, what do you think about this? What would my grandmother say about that? That type of thing. So I think in terms of my grandmother these days, she's the first of the elders that is an ancestor for me, like a true ancestor. Last but not least, if you don't have a multi-generational household, intentionally create a multi-generational circle. All right. I always say that there are three people that you need to have in your life. Mentees are people that you help, peers or laterals, people that are kind of on the same page as you, mentors, people who are already where you want to be. But the Blue Zoners add one more, and that is elders. Okay, we want to add in our elders, just for the value of their life and their wisdom, not necessarily to always be teaching us something like a mentor or have a goal of teaching, but just being. Okay, sometimes having elders that are in our family and growing up with them, we kind of know and can fast forward our life and know what we will deal with at certain ages. Okay. So let's talk about longevity in business, not just your body. All right. We're kind of going over time, but this is a good one. This is a good episode, y'all. I told y'all as we go on, I got more and more to say because we're really getting stuff done. Okay. So longevity in your business. You need to diversify your time, not just your income. So yes, you should diversify your income. You should have 7 streams of revenue, all of that kind of stuff. But what about diversifying your time? You need to embrace flexibility in how you work. Okay. And one of the ways that you can do that is make sure that you have passive income and active income. Active income means that when people pay you money, you got to do something. Passive income is you built something and then now people can pay you over and over again. You don't have to do anything else. Okay. So think about that. How much passive income and how much active income do you have in your business? Think about your business like a retirement fund. What is your 10-year vision for it? What is your 20-year vision for it? Are you building assets? Or are you just staying busy? Is it a business that you one day want to sell, or do you one day want to retire and kind of work menial hours but still in your business? Another thing you can do is build a business model that grows with your life, which is that latter thing, right? So you can talk about like the emotional, hormonal, creative, and literal seasons that you'll be working in. And how does that look as you get older? Like, what part will you play as you get older in your own business? All right. Now, I want you to get ready for the challenge. The challenge is simple, yet life changing. I want you to use the 8 Blue Zone themes to draft your Live to 100 CEO life blueprint. Feel free to watch the Netflix series that inspired this episode for more support. But a long life is a gift, but a joyful one is a design. And baby, you are a designer. So I want you to get this blueprint going. What is going to be your purpose of what's going to drive you? What are going to be your rituals? What are going to be the people who are important to you? And what are going to be some of the places like your environment that is going to match the energy you want to kind of be in all the time? And what is your practice? What do you need to consistently do to keep your mind and your body thriving? All right? This is good stuff, y'all. So let me tell you, I am a CEO. I provide award-winning fractional chief operating officer services to exclusive clientele of 6 and 7-figure CEOs. I've been featured by Time Magazine, Delta Airlines, Fast Company, Thrive Global, and more. But my superpower is what I use to position Black and brown female online service-based entrepreneurs to get to their first 6 figures with a focus on time freedom. If that's you, I'd like to invite you to my free business mastermind group where we build community, create collaborations, and have conversations to provide you with transformational business growth. I want you to go to shaycannon.info/group and join us. That's shaycannon.info/group. That's all for this episode. It's been a pleasure having you tune in. So, CEO, go design a life worth living for 100 years. Bye for now.